Thank you, Chantal. I must say that that piece means a lot to me. I remember I used to, Voice of Barbados had a classical program at night, and I would call Alpha Pragnell, who ran at one stage, and ask if he would play that. And then I would make Pearson Bowen miserable, because he used to host that program, to play Pei Yesu. So thank you so much. When I was asked who was going to preach at this liturgy, I said, really and truly, I didn't want any sermon. I just want to relate to people who are here, because most of you, if not all of you, have been there with me and have walked with me and journeyed with me over the past 40 years. And I want to see this as an appreciation for your journeying with me. There are some people here this evening. I don't know, I can't tell all of them because we're so tightly packed, who is here and who isn't. But if I may journey back, first of all, members of my family who are here, my brother Anthony and several cousins, my brother Courtney Weeks, who came over from England, and I hope that at some stage you will get to see and to meet some of these families. But if I were to put them all together, you have the Blackett's, Best, Worrell, Marshall, Jackman, Weeks family. And I see amongst, we have, no doubt, Serpenton Weeks, and I'm always very pleased to be in your company and to meet you in situations like these. Also like to, if they are here, there were some people who taught me at school. I don't know, and can you imagine that there are people still around who taught me at school? And amongst them is Richardine Clark Reese, Milton Seeley, Vincent. Well, may I ask those who were teachers and who are here now to please stand so that I can welcome you and recognize you. Are there? Milton and wow. I want to thank you very much for journeying with me through those years. And in our midst, we have a number of Anglican clergy. 3 of them in Barbados, 4 if we include Bishop Peter Fenty, are also, had just celebrated 40 years of ordination. Winston Lane, William Dixon, Michael Blackman. I don't know all of who are here, but I would like to acknowledge your presence and welcome you. And then amongst the other Anglican clergy, I am so very pleased to see Canon Andrew Hatch. Yes. Canon Hatch has been a good friend for all these years, and I'm very pleased to see you. And Dean Emeritus, or 2 of them actually, so I'd like to welcome you both. And also the new principal of Codrington College, and then Marcus Lashley and some others. I wouldn't go through the litany of persons who are here. We also have persons who were here with me from the beginning of those 40 years. I recall, and I always appreciate the Barbados Land State then, and I believe Cynthia Wilson is here because she was one of those who danced at that ordination. Is she here? Oh, yeah. Cynthia, it is so lovely. You look as though you could dance again this evening. And just to let you know some of the other persons who danced on that occasion, and may I hasten to say, that was the first liturgical dance that was ever performed in any church in Barbados. So the revolution began then. And as some would say, you know, you're a revolutionary, so I live to my name. With Cynthia in those days was Esme Wickham. She's gone to her eternal reward, and we pray for her. Hattie Lane, she was the daughter of Archdeacon Lane of the Anglican Church, but she was a member of that group. Hetty Workman, Molly Crowcross, Virginia Seeley, and Leah Gilbert. I don't know if any of these people are around, but you know, I appreciate and I always remember the wonderful job that you did on that occasion. And I want to use this opportunity to thank you and to say that I am so pleased that so many of you are still around. And then, of course, we have other people that were there and are continue to be there. I don't know if Matthew and Gregory Dickinson are here this evening, but if you are they here? Anyway, they're supposed to be here. I'd like to welcome them. And those are the sons of Canon Dickinson, who was at St. James Parish Church. I'd like to say that I'm very pleased to see the Arlene family here, and we continue to journey together. And the Arlene family put us, or me particularly, back centuries, because these are the descendants of Sir John Gay Arlene, who was the founder of the school. So Richie and company, I'd like to welcome all of you. I don't know if Andrew is here, but I'd like to say hi and welcome to him as well. And sitting with you, I could see Joan Mahon. Joan Mahon is like the matriarch of a community that existed. And Joan, I would like us to put our hands together for Joan Mahon. Joan, and your son John is here, I believe, and Pixie, welcome to you. Happy to see you. As I said, these were people I remember Joan from the days when I was at St. Joseph's Hospital, and she was one of those who came around and helped the sisters in so many ways. I don't think I would want to go through that whole litany, but I want to welcome in a very special way members of the St. Lucian community who have come out this evening to participate in this liturgy, all dressed in your national costumes. So thank you so much, because I've been with them for such a very long time. And then so many people were working behind the scenes to help to make this evening a joyous occasion, and I want to thank you. Brothers and sisters, this coming to where I am now had its beginning way back when. One of the things I like about the Irish is to try to get directions from them. If you're ever in Ireland and ask for direction, I know there's some Irish people here, and I'm sure they will bear me out on this, and you ask for direction, you will get some wonderful direction. I remember two of us, myself and another Irish priest, were driving towards Galway, and we stopped to ask questions. First of all, I did not understand the language, and he didn't understand it too well either. And the person we asked direction, his response was, if I were you, I wouldn't begin here. And that is so typical Irish. If I were you, I wouldn't begin here. So he said, well, where do you begin? And then they would tell you where to begin. If you keep straight down the road, and you come to a crossroad, and you cross over, and then you would meet a pub, and they would describe the pub a little bit, but that's not where you want to get. And then they will continue telling you how to get where you want to get. Very similar to the Barbadian, and I always say that's the Irish influence on our culture. But I only introduce that to say that this is not the beginning, and this is not where I begin. My journey towards where I am now began way back as a little boy growing up in the country district. And it was an experience. The thunder was rolling, lightning flashing, and as kids here we were chatting away, and we were scolded by our grandmother to stop talking. You don't speak when the thunder is rolling. I see some of you nodding your head as though you're familiar with this. And the reason was God is speaking. The Lord is speaking, so don't talk when the Lord is speaking. And that led me to ask some question about this God who is supposed to be in the thunder speaking. And so I began to wrestle with that as a youngster. God speaking from the thunder. Who is this God? Who is God? And so from childhood, the question of who is God was a question I had to deal with. I recall just before leaving school, there was a gathering of 5th and 6th formers at Harrison College. And we were addressed at that gathering by Sir James Tudor, Sir Cameron Tudor, as he was then Minister of Education. He was one of the speakers. The others included people like Frank Parado, and it was organized by the JCs and people that they had invited. And in his address, Mr. Tudor raised a question that would remain with me for a very long time. And in that address, he said, you know, you can't describe God. And if there was any word, the one word to describe God, it would be a verb, is. Because the only thing you could say about God is that God is. And again, send me down the pathway wondering about God. Can't say anything about him until later on in studying St. John, we could say God is love. So, those were my questions. On leaving school, I did a short stint as a laboratory technician in the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and then went on to the St. Joseph Hospital. And there, I would encounter another challenge, not anyone speaking about God, but first there was a young man, young teenager like myself, who was face to face with dying. He had cancer. And his question was, why do I have to die? And I used to say, yeah, why does he have to die? And then there was a young doctor who, playing football, he was a young intern, thought he'd pull a muscle only to discover it was cancer. I used to visit with him and listen to his questions about death and dying. And so these concerns began to challenge me and would lead me to reflect further. During that period, I met the late Archbishop of Port of Spain, Archbishop Pantin, who spoke to me about the priesthood and the order he belonged to. So off I went to Trinidad to join the Holy Ghost Fathers until the new diocese of Bridgetown, Kingston was created, and I was asked to be here. And that's how I continue. I finished my philosophy and finished my theology, went off to Canada, came back a few days, and was made a priest. And I'm a priest all like now. Haven't decided to change profession yet. But there have been many challenges and many questions that would throw themselves up and continue to throw themselves up. But the church that I was ordained into was a church that was alive and challenging, full of energy. And those who would recall the church of the 70s will know how alive that church was. There I saw the formation of the Caribbean Conference of Churches. There are the Catholic bishops. I remember being a youngster at the first gathering in Martinique, dealing with some real issues facing the Caribbean. That's why I'm happy to say that how much I appreciate Canon Hatch's presence, because he was part of that. I'm sure he would remember Chagaramos back then. I was a student. Who could forget Reverend Nihal challenging the church in the Caribbean? And I could say that it was a period when the church experienced a real social, political, theological earthquake that would shake the church to its foundation. And it was good to be part of that church. It was there too that we were being encouraged to contextualize the church, to make the church Caribbean, a truly Caribbean church. And not only the Caribbean, universally, things were happening to show that there was this need to make the church local. I would never forget the picture I saw of Pope Paul VI after a visit to Africa, standing up in St. Peter's before he gave the noonday blessing, and with his hands up, he said, this is how they dance in Africa, because in Africa the church dance, everybody dance when they come together to celebrate. And so we tried. I did my best when I was at Blackrock and chaplain to the university, and everybody thought that here he is trying to change the Catholic Church, but all he was doing was trying to make the church relevant to Barbados and the Caribbean. Because Pope Paul VI has said that the separation between faith and culture was the greatest drama of our times. And so all of us remember those days and how alive we were. I don't know what has happened since, but they say life begins at 40. And the way you have applauded says to me that I should end on that note. Life begins at 40. As I was looking around, I see some other people I should have, members of the Light Airplane Club, of which I'm a member, and I know there's a man in here who tells me when I go up in the air, make sure I go take the plane in the other direction, but don't come over land. Right, Roger? So I'd like to say hi to you, and perhaps the past students of the Presentation College among us. I would like to acknowledge your presence if you're here. I welcome the Honorable Evelyn Grave and Dame as Barkowaj. Welcome. And I see Sybil Barrow, member of the Barrow family there, and of course, I would not like to forget Paul Altman and his wife that I can see now from here. So all of you, welcome, and remember, and keep reminding me, life begins at 40. And so maybe I could say, it's only just begun.